Hello, everybody. This is Andrew at the Wyoming Dinosaur Center, and this is Fossil Friday. Howl's Eve is upon us, and we decided to do a little ghoulish experiment for this week's Fossil Friday. We are beginning to bring tissue back from the dead. Yes, it's very fascinating. You could say it's been on my mind lately. It's my brainchild, in fact. But enough of that. Are you ready, Mr. Bones? The silent treatment, as always. Well, first we'll need to begin to replicate the fossilization process. So we'll add some water, add some organic material. Fascinating. Now, add some minerals, iron perhaps. And a little volcanic ash, just because that sounds cool. A few night crawlers to simulate the decomposition process. And of course, lots and lots of sediment. All right, the time is upon us. We are going to resurrect this dead tissue. And yes, yes! It's still petrified. Oh, well, the scientific process fails us once again. Well, this is the topic of today's Fossil Friday, this rather curious example of a fossilized brain. Well, strictly speaking, that's not entirely true. It's not a fossilized brain, it's a brain cast. See, lots of times in museums, you'll see that skeletons are made of replicated materials. We make copies of the actual bones by making molds of them and filling them with plastic to make copies that are easier to move and to put into interesting poses, like many you'll see at our museum. This is a natural cast. This was taken directly from the brain cavity of a Maiasaur, a duck-billed dinosaur, much like this one. Maiasaur, a very common duck-billed dinosaur from Montana, where this lovely specimen was discovered. So after the dinosaur died, its organic materials deteriorated and faded into nothing. Then sediment filled up the hole where the brain was and left behind this lovely cast of the brain. Yes. Now, what can we learn from such a specimen? Can we figure out the makeup of the brain, what elements and minerals went into it? Well, no, and it's actually not one of the things that we can do with natural brain casts, but it does tell us quite a bit. For instance, ignoring this large bulbous end, that's the condyle, as part of the skull, this is the complete size of the Maiasaura brain. Not very large, is it? But the fascinating thing about the brain is that you can study the elements of it, look at the lobes and the various points and pinches that determine certain aspects of an animal's life, like its eyesight, or its hearing, or its sense of smell. So this brain cast gives us an inside look into the mind of a Maiasaur, peace of mind, if you will. Just, well, again, not an actual peace, but hey, we make do with what we have. So, can this brain cast determine the intelligence of our Maiasaur? No. No, it can't. Well, not entirely. There are some who believe that the size of the brain compared to the size of the body will give you something of an accurate idea as to what the intelligence of the animal was, but unfortunately, that's not always the most reliable way. Lots of times in nature, animals exhibit intelligences far beyond what their capabilities would be. As like an example, crocodiles have a comparatively small brain, but they've been seen using tools. By grasping twigs in their snouts, they entice birds to land on them so they can snap them up. It's a rather intelligent behavior. More intelligent than many people would give crocodiles credit for. So, this Maiasaur, by all accounts, probably wasn't terribly bright. This brain is not large by any stretch of the imagination, but perhaps it was smarter than we give it credit for. For instance, they seem to have exhibited herding behaviors. That's rather complex for an animal that size. Herding requires a certain amount of brain function in order to work. So Perhaps myosaurs were intelligent in certain ways, but certainly not by much. Not as intelligent as I am, most definitely. So, no, unfortunately, we don't have a special brain presentation for you today. We cannot resurrect this dead tissue, since it's not tissue at all. It was a failure of an experiment from the start. Well, the sound effects were cool, I guess, and it is still a fascinating fossil, an inside look into the mind of a prehistoric creature. Yes, well, I think that's about all for today. I've got a little Frankenstein's monster I'm concocting for our next fossil presentation. So until then, this is Andrew at the Wyoming Dinosaur Center, keeping your Friday fossiliferous. Half a night.